So, everybody is 100% wrong about iPadOS. In the past 5 years, I've fallen into this habit of buying certain products and then selling them 6 months down the line so I could buy a new product just to try a different experience. And through that, I've had maybe 5 MacBooks, 3 or 4 iPads, a couple different PCs and laptops. For some reason, I always come back to the iPad. And it wasn't until recently that I really figured out why that's the case. Reason number one has gotta be design. If you look at Windows, everything is too sharp, too squarish. And if you go to macOS, it's trying to be an iPhone, it's trying to be an iPad, and it's trying to be a Mac all at the same time. And the design language just gets really confusing and unorganized. But when you come over to the iPad, everything is looking cohesive, pristine, and beautiful. You have the dock, and you can pull it up from anywhere in the iPad. And if you swipe up again, it takes you to the home screen. Every single icon is cohesive in terms of its design and style choice. Everything has rounded corners, app icons, app windows, and don't let me forget, the round cursor I think is perfect for iPadOS, because if you put a mouse cursor on the iPad, it would just look weird. Putting a very sharp object on a bunch of soft objects just doesn't really make any sense. The cool thing that you could do with it too is anytime you hover over any icon in any app with the mouse, it will bubble into the shape of whatever that icon is, and it just looks so good. I like all the glassy, kind of blurry effects that exist around the operating system that looks super good, super crisp, very smooth. And I think overall, iPadOS just has a very friendly looking user interface where anybody can pick it up and they'll just want to start tapping around on stuff. So reason number two, oh, you can see the reflection! Turn that shit, whatever. Reason number two, now this might be a hot take, but I think iPadOS has the best window management system. When you go to macOS, there's no window symmetry, there's no hot corners, so multitasking is just so sad. Windows, they got it a little better. You can drag apps to any corner of the screen and it'll snap to a certain size, but iPadOS has it perfectly. Now, Stage Manager, while not being the most popular thing, I really like it and I think it's fantastic. I don't use that awkward little sidebar thing that shows your recent applications. I think that's totally useless when you have the dock at the bottom where you can just drag and drop apps into your workspace. You can have up to 4 apps open on one screen, and all you have to do to open them is just drag and drop. And when you drop, you can drop it anywhere on the screen, and that is where the app will open, rather than clicking on an icon in a dock and the app randomly opening wherever the operating system decides. Resizing stuff, all you gotta do is just grab on a corner and drag, and it resizes the window to whatever size you want. When you're using Stage Manager, all the apps perfectly snap to a symmetrical size every time. There's no overlapping unless you make an app big enough to the point where it's supposed to overlap other apps. Oh, it's excellent. It's so good. And reason number 3 has got to be multitasking. Not only do you have Stage Manager, but you also have split screen, where you can have 2 apps open on the same screen, split in half. And if you want to bring in a third app, you just drag and drop it in, and it'll open on the side in a smaller card. And if you don't want to use that mode, then you can just use regular iPad mode, where it's 1 app per screen. That one I pretty much use almost never, unless I'm editing a video or I'm doing something that is specific to only 1 app. Having all those options there gives you a lot of different opportunities for different workflows. Now the super hype thing, and this just happened less than a year ago, is iPad now has external monitor support, which, bro, they haven't had this feature for so long. And when I heard that they added it, that was when I decided to go out and buy a new iPad. It can support up to 2 displays, your iPad screen and whatever you have on the screen that it's connected to. And it literally does everything that I just explained, but on a bigger scale. So I can fit more apps onto the screen and I can resize them to a more flexible size on a bigger screen. And the best part about everything that I've been talking about for the past 3 minutes is that the iPad Pro can do every single thing I just said without even breaking a sweat. It never heats up. There's not even a fan in this thing. This $1,500 machine, it can't do that. It's got the fan on right now, just running this YouTube video on the screen. What the F? Reason number 5, we gotta go with talking about the M2 in the iPad Pro. A lot of reviewers and a lot of people just in general say that having the M1 even was overkill for the iPad Pro. But I completely disagree with these statements because iPadOS isn't super demanding like Windows or macOS is, so it leaves more power from the chip to be poured into whatever task you could be doing on the iPad. Running DaVinci Resolve on this iPad is a damn near seamless experience where there's no lag in the timeline, content drops in instantly, everything loads very quickly, everything is very smooth, there's no crashes. This machine right here is a $1,600 gaming laptop. I've loaded up DaVinci Resolve on here a ton of times, loaded the content in, and it's an okay experience, but the timeline will lag. How come this $1,600 machine can't do the same functions as this $700 machine? It's because it's got that overpowered M2 chip and a relatively low power operating system. It's the perfect combination. I don't understand what everybody's complaining about. And reason number 6, the Apple Pencil, I didn't forget about you, bro. If you're somebody who likes to take notes, who likes to write a lot, and maybe is a professional artist in terms of drawing, the Apple Pencil is perfect for you. Now, of course, with all this great stuff, there's obviously stuff that I wish Apple would fix with the iPad. For example, better volume controls for multiple apps. For some confusing reason, there's only one volume control for all the apps on the iPad, which, why? Man, I really wish I could hear the music that I'm listening to and edit the content at the same time. Let me just change the volume real quick. Oh, just kidding. Just kidding. You can't do that. There's only one. Oh, wait, maybe I'll just go into the app and change the volume here. Oh, but now I can't hear this. Okay, cool. So I'll just go f myself. That's cool. Drag and drop still sucks. So I'll just take my video right here and I'll drag it over here. Oh, well, let me try it again. You can't do that. What? That doesn't make any sense. Bro, just let me drag and drop, bro. Just put it in. Just let me drag and drop and things would be much better. But other than that, everything is almost perfect. Something that I think about often is who is the iPad really made for? I don't think Apple even really knows. One year they want to be the ultimate mobile powerhouse with a touch screen, and then the next year they're just like, yeah, the iPad's just the iPad, it's nothing special.
What you doing on your computer? What's a computer?
What the hell?
Me personally, I think Apple is making it for the middle user, not the person who is editing 8K Pro RAW footage, but it's also not for the person who just needs an iPad to put in front of their kid's face when they go out to dinner. It shouldn't be called iPad Pro, it should be called iPad Mid, because it's really for the person in between the two things that I just described. In conclusion, I think too many people try to compare iPadOS to what already exists. I think people really like to look and say, here's what the iPad is missing, rather than highlighting, here's what the iPad can do, and here's why it can do it really well. iPadOS 100% outdoes Windows and macOS, only in certain ways though. I think most of all in the end, iPad has character. It's cool. It's fun to look at. It's got a lot of personality. It's very bubbly, and it has the most cohesive design language of any Apple product, I think. They take a little bit from the iPhone, and the rest is all original, and it's beautiful. So, that's why I think you're wrong about iPadOS. Adios. I'm out of here. That's a wrap. That's a wrap, boys.